My sound check people, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. So it is actually 7 o'clock, and it would be nice to start on time because, you know, Kaslo, everybody wants to be in bed at 9. 8:30, whatever. No pressure. So if you could all take your seats, and while you're doing so, I'd like to welcome you all here, and I'm very glad to see this turnout. And I can appreciate that you all feel, as all of us on the Kaslo Housing Society have, it's been pressed into our minds ever since we've been on this board, is that housing is integral to just about all, it is integral to everything that our society here in Little Kaslo, as we develop, as we grow too fast, but it impacts every facet of our life. It's with the local economy, our local businesses, our schools, our hospitals, the ability for every person in this town to have a place to live has become not something that we can take for granted anymore. To start off with this housing forum, well, it's an all candidates forum, but the subject is about housing. But I can appreciate, there will be questions for the audience after we do these prepared questions we have. And you can ask any question you like. And I would just ask our candidates here that when they do answer those questions, put it through the lens of housing. I don't mind if somebody asks questions about the sewer, or about local businesses, or the kind of branding we want. All of that is fine with me and fine with us, but all of that can also be looked at through the lens of housing, and this is why we're here. And I think it's entirely appropriate to look at the way we manage ourselves, first through like all our basic needs. So it's food, housing, our economy, our ability to make a living. And it is all tied together. So it seems a perfectly reasonable way to approach finding out the way our candidates think and the way that they're likely to get along together, which is probably what a lot of us want to see as well, because it takes a team it's a very big challenge, and it's going to take a pretty good team to actually make inroads and make changes of substance, which I think we all quite strongly feel that we need to see in this town. I had expected this forum to be introduced and moderated by the housing coordinator for Kaslo and Area D. That's Kevin Flaherty. He has a regular office hours at the Langham, and he is our first, this Kaslo Housing Society's very first paid employee. He had a family emergency, and I found out at 3:30 today that I'll be doing this. And so a little bit nervous about all of this, but when I think about how nervous, what kind of a challenge, public challenge all of you have taken on, it's nothing. But please forgive me if I'm just not used to this role, and I understand we have a very short time limit and we have a lot of people to speak. Don Lang is our school district by acclamation the trustee, and I would have her up here, and she's welcome to be up here, and she's welcome to have some input, but she figured it for in everybody else's interest and the timing that she'd just sit back. If she wants to speak, she'll put her hand up, and there will be questions for everybody after we go through our 4 major questions. And so I think just a couple of thank yous. Erin Satarski is looking after kids today, which is a nice thing to have. We would not be able to be putting on this forum were it not for a generous donation from Seafunkles Community Fund in North Kootenay Lake. And through a grant with Seafunkles, we are going to do a number of community engagements, of which this is the first one. I would like to thank Columbia Basin Trust and the RDCK and the Village of Kaslo for helping to fund the position of housing coordinator. And I would like to thank everybody who's ever been on the Kaslo Housing Society board. There's been a lot of you over the years, and we've had a very long patch where it was extremely difficult to have enough funding, and things just were not coming together. There's a 20-year history for this society, but today there's more potential for funding, and I think the village is as on board as it has ever been. And I want to thank all the current councillors and the mayor for that spirit of cooperation with the Kaslo Housing Society. And so finally, I'll just say the mandate of the Kaslo Housing Society is to provide and maintain residential accommodation for seniors, adult people with disabilities, and low-income families and adult individuals, which is affordable, appropriate, and accessible. So we are looking out for shelter for everybody, all types. I'm going to introduce our slate of candidates here. I already mentioned Don Lang as school district trustee. At the far end, we have Andy Shadrack, and he is a candidate for the mayor. Then next to him is John Rasmussen, and he's a candidate for councillor. And then it's Jeffrey Halliday, candidate for councillor. Kelly Knoll, incumbent councillor. Michael Halliday, councillor, candidate for councillor. Amy Lynn, who is our RDCK Area D director, and by acclamation, she continues to be so. And Pat Mackel, candidate for mayor. Henry Van Mill, candidate, incumbent and councillor candidate. Susan Hewitt, our current, I should say, what's your title? Your worship? Susan Hewitt, our mayor. Rob Lang, incumbent councillor. And Molly Leithwood, former councillor and now running for re-election. I'm going to pick out, for the first question, so we are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. We've got an odd number. I'm going to pick out 5 names for the first question, and whoever I did not pick out for the first question, they're going to get the next question. So the first question is a bit of a broad strokes question, but it is also something that is at the federal level becoming an issue, and it's kind of it is a human rights. It has been framed as a human rights issue. Does everybody deserve a home? The question that I will ask the 5 names that I draw will be: do you feel that the village or district has a role to play in helping those who face an immediate lack of adequate shelter? And what measures do you propose? The first part will be a yes or no, and the second part is where you can elaborate. And so the 5 names that I picked for this question will be Michael Halliday, John Rasmussen, Amy Watson, Kelly Knoll, Henry Van Mill. So I'm going to start with John. You're on the far end there, so we'll just go in that direction this way. John, you want to start with, do you want me to repeat the question?
No, I've got the written right in front of me.
Do you have the mic? Can
no, I don't. Do I need a microphone? Can everyone hear me?
Use the mic.
Use the mic. All right.
Yeah.
I do trivia at the hotel on Tuesday nights. I can scream for hours. Do I feel that the village or the district has a role to play in helping those who face immediate lack of adequate shelter? Yes. What measures do I propose? For immediate lack of shelter, it's somewhat difficult. I mean, there are places around, but they're not readily available right now. In the long term, I see lots of vacant village land that could be used for housing. I see no reason why we can't turn vacant land into land that is revenue generating. For the long term, not just the short term. Yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought and I'm going to end it there.